Good morning class. Today we will study the chapter on geography of class 9, natural vegetation and wildlife. This is a very scoring chapter of geography, not much conceptual. First we will study what do we mean by the term natural vegetation. So the term natural vegetation, it refers to a plant community which has grown naturally without human aid and has been left undisturbed by humans for a long time. So we have two concepts when we study the definition of natural vegetation, that which has grown naturally, and second, it refers to which has been left undisturbed by human beings for a long time. So the definition completes as a plant community which has grown naturally without human aid and has been left undisturbed by humans for a long time is referred to as natural vegetation. So the plants which we have in our home, garden or city parks cannot be grouped under natural vegetation as they have been developed by conscious human effort. They have not been grown naturally. The species which owes its origin within the country and which have not been introduced from outside are termed as the virgin vegetation. This is another concept. Virgin itself means pure. We are studying what is a virgin vegetation. The literal meaning of virgin means pure. So virgin vegetation, the species which owes its origin within the country and which have not been introduced from outside are termed as the virgin vegetation. In this reference, India is one of the 12 mega biodiversity countries of the world. This is very commendable that India, it occupies its position among the 12 mega biodiversity countries of the world. So India is one of the 12 mega biodiversity countries of the world. It has 47,000 plant species and occupies 10th place in the world and 4th in Asia in plant diversity. Diversity refers to the various species. Yeah, we are not referring it to quality or quantity but the variety in the species of both flora and fauna. Fauna refers to the animal life and flora refers to the plant life. So India, it has about 47,000 plant species and occupies 10th place in the world. India occupies 10th place in the world and 4th in Asia in plant diversity. Now the question which is generally asked in 9th class is, what is the reason for huge diversity in flora and fauna kingdom? So it is basically because of the following reasons. First let us write down the question. Reason for the diversity. Reason for huge diversity in flora and fauna. Flora and fauna kingdom of any place. Flora refers to the plant life and fauna refers to the animal life. So we will study this broadly under two features or two factors. First is the relief and second is the climate. In relief, we have the further subheading. One is the land and second is the soil. Though both land and soil, they are related, but we will study it under different heads. Under climate, we will study it as under temperature. Second is the photo period. And third is the precipitation. Study of relief features of any place, it is known as a topography. So first we will study how the relief affects the distribution of flora and fauna at a particular place. So first we study it under the relief factors, and under relief we first study the land. We all know that more fertile land is used for agriculture. The nature of land influences the type of vegetation. The fertile land, it is generally devoted to agriculture. Agriculture is possible only by conscious human activities. So the undulating and rough terrain areas are the areas where grassland and woodlands develop and give shelter to a variety of wildlife. Because the rough areas, it is very difficult to develop it into fertile agricultural land, though land reclamation projects are going on in various countries, but generally we study that rough terrains are the areas where grassland and woodlands develop and give shelter to a variety of wildlife. Second factor we study is the soil. We know that different soil provide different bases, or the different soil provide basis for different type of vegetation. Under soil, we'll study what are the various types of soil as per the fertility or the moisture holding capacity of the soil. For example, the sandy soils of desert, which are not very fertile and which lack moisture and hence support the xerophytic type of vegetation. Xerophytic type of vegetation or the desert type of vegetation, for example, the cactus and the thorny bushes. In the soil, we can study, for example, the sandy soils of desert. They support the xerophytic type of vegetation. This you might have studied in biology. We'll later on study what are the adaptations in xerophytic type of plants to survive the harsh climatic conditions. And examples of xerophytes are cactus, thorny bushes, soils of marshy areas, and specifically the soils of the deltaic region. They support the mangrove trees. For example, the Sundarban delta. We have studied how the Ganga and the Brahmaputra river, or the sediments brought by the Ganga Brahmaputra river, they contribute to the formation of the Sundarban delta. Prominent feature of the Sundarban delta is the Sundari tree and the natural home of Royal Bengal tiger. So we have studied that the soil of marshy areas, they support the mangrove trees. At high altitudes where the hill slopes, they do not have the very great amount of the soil, or they have just a little depth of the soil, they have the conical trees. So this is what we study, that various types of soil support the different type of vegetation. Now we come to the another subheading, that is the climate. In this subheading, I've already said that we study three factors affecting the type of vegetation. First is temperature, second is the photo period, and third is the precipitation. So first we'll study the temperature. Hot and humid climate always supports the luxurious vegetation. This is very clear. You have seen in your daily life example also that, for example, in India, in the monsoon season or prior to monsoon, that is in June, when there is a hot and humid climate, you might have seen the luxurious vegetation around you. Though the monsoon failure, it leads to the failure of crops and dryness of vegetation. But when there is abundant amount of moisture and abundant amount of heat, we have a good amount of good growth of trees. In the Himalayan slopes and the hills of peninsula, as there is a fall in temperature with altitude, or as one goes from sea level to the top of the mountains, one can see the transformation of vegetation from tropical to subtropical temperate and further to the alpine vegetation. In context with other countries, places near the poles which are extremely low temperature have coniferous and tundra type of vegetation. For example, in the Siberian region, you can see we have the coniferous forest. So we can write that hot and humid climate supports luxurious vegetation. In case of India, as there is a decrease in temperature with altitude, one can see the transformation of vegetation from tropical to subtropical temperate and further to alpine vegetation. Second factor which we study in this context is the photo period. Photo period, it is also, we can say that the amount of sunlight received or as insolation. Location of a place in accordance with latitude, altitude, along with the season determines the amount of sunlight or the insolation received by any place. Trees have favorable growth when they receive ample amount of sunlight. Otherwise, the trees have stunted growth. In your home gardens also you might see that if you compare the growth of two similar plants, one placed in such a way that it receives ample amount of sunlight, then it grows faster. And if you place a second plant away from sunlight, it will have a retarded growth. Third factor which we are studying it is precipitation. Now it has many forms, or we can say that precipitation has many forms ranging from rainfall to snowfall. Areas of heavy rainfall have more dense vegetation as compared to other areas of less rainfall. You can compare the northeastern states of India with Rajasthan. Rajasthan west to Arabies, it receives lesser amount or very less amount of rainfall as compared to the northeast region around Meghalaya, Assam. As such, in northeastern states, you can see the dense vegetation, and in western part of Rajasthan, you have the xerophytic type of vegetation. Now we'll study a general topic. What is the importance of forest? We are generally asking 5 marks questions or a short essay on what is the importance of forest. So it is a general topic, but students should write such answers in point forms to score good marks. So first we can say that as an endowment of nature, they are the renewable resources which help in enhancing the quality of environment. So we can write they are the renewable resources, and as such they help in enhancing the quality of environment. They provide us a pollution-free environment. Second factor related to this is that the forests are rain holder and a rain banker. Without them, the valleys and most of the areas lying around would be an arid waste. So we can say that the forests, they are rain holder and a rain banker. Third point is the forests, they aid in checking soil erosion and they help in reducing the wind damages. The trees act like a million tiny dams and forests perform the duties of a barrage. Third point is they help in checking soil erosion and reduce the wind damages. This is generally done by the canopy of the trees and the roots. Fourth, we can say that forests, they have an ethical value. Trees are objects of beauty. They provide fine scenery and excellent healthy air and thereby attract people as a source of recreation. We can write that forests, they have an ethical value. They are objects of beauty and they provide fine scenery and excellent healthy air and thereby attract people as a source of recreation. Fifth, we can say that the culture, in specifically in reference to India, the culture of India gathered strength in the Tapovans all over the country where the sages lived and men of all affairs spent their retired lives. Tapovan, it is an Hindi word, forest. Other uses being the forest, they modify the local climate. Root of the trees, they hold the soil and thus help in controlling soil erosion. Other uses, the forest products provide raw material for industries, so they help in setting up of industries which act as a boon for the country in other implied ways also. We can write that they provide raw material for industries. 7, we can say that it provides humus to the soil and thereby increases the soil fertility. In short, we can write it increases the soil fertility by adding humus. We can also say that forests are the home for rich and varied wildlife. Specifically to India, we can say that Indian forests, they are very rich in medicinal herbs and drugs like atropa, belladonna, nux vomica, cinchona. Indian forests, they are rich in medicinal herbs and drugs Example, Atropa, Belladonna, Nux vomica. You can add on your examples on your own also. Lac, it is secreted by a type of insects which feed on saps of host trees like palash, peepal, kusum, gular and banyan. Such trees are extremely found in southwest district of Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, etc. This is specifically for the Indian trees. The lac, it is secreted by a type of insects which feed on the saps of host trees like palash, peepal, kusum, gular and banyan. Such trees are extremely found in southwest district of Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh. Tendu leaves, they are found in Orissa, southeast Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. They are used as wrappers for beedis. These are some specific examples. You can also state that forests, they provide shelter to over 35 million tribesmen, which is an important cultural aspect for any country. These are the general uses of forests. You can add on more uses for your convenience, but answers to such topics should be written in point form to score good marks.